So we spoke to somebody that's watched every single snap of Jaire Alexander's career with the Green Bay Packers, but why not take it up a notch and speak to somebody who's literally watched every single snap of Jaire Alexander's life? Somebody that's been around him, somebody that's coached him, somebody that's helped him so much along the way, his father. Team Keep It Clean, this is a very, very special, I can't even call it an interview, but just a conversation that we had the privilege of having, where we get to take a peek behind the curtain, where we get to get a detailed background of not only Jaire Alexander, but of his father, Landis, as well. So Team Keep It Clean, we are joined by a very, very special guest. I figured who better to bring in than somebody who has literally been watching Jaire Alexander for his entire life, none other than his father. Landis, welcome to our YouTube channel, Team Keep It Clean, where we big Baltimore Ravens fans, and we are more than happy to welcome both you and your son to Ravens Flock. So how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh yeah, of course, of course. Now, just to get right into it, obviously, first round draft pick in 2018. Just to go back to that, how was that moment for you as a father watching your son be a first round pick in the NFL? Because with a lot of people, they don't even make it to the NFL. Only 1% of people make it to the league. But to be a first round draft pick, so one of 32, only 32 people that year that will ever be selected in the first round, that's big. And your son was one of those people. How did that feel?
Uh, you know, I guess people throw around the term surreal.
Mhm.
I think I was kind of numb about it. I just remember saying, "Wow, manifestation maybe." But I talked about it since he was 9 years old, and I know I
Oh,
used to hate when people said, "Oh, she's been singing since she was 2" and things like that. But I mean, he'd been playing football since he was 6 years old, and that was always there was no plan B for him. I mean, he was
mm,
good student and everything like that, but there was no plan B. So we if we hadn't gotten there, I think I would have been more surprised than
mm.
I was that day.
Oh, okay. So that he was literally all in on football. It was no other option, and obviously, it paid off for sure.
Yes, sir.
Because he
Absolutely.
had a nice career with the Green Bay Packers. But over these past couple of months, obviously before he was officially released from the Packers, how was that? And really over these past couple of years, we know he was an outstanding cornerback. He was one of the best cornerbacks in the league. But then the injuries got the best of him. Can you sort of give us a peek behind the curtain with that, with how the injuries were, where he stands at now with the injuries, how healthy he is, just that whole scenario?
The most recent one was the knee. It was a PCL. Originally, it was thought to be something else, but it came down to a sprained PCL is what we were thinking. I'm not up there with the trainers and doctors
Right.
and everything like that, so they said that it would be 3 to 4 weeks that he'd be down for, and he was steadily trying to do what he needed to do to get back, and kept saying something else is wrong or something. I keep thinking that I'm good, and I go out there and I can't do this move, and I can't do these things, and I can't push off, and I can't straighten my leg out all the way. Those types of things,
Mhm.
and they were just another week, give him another week. They never put him on IR, which I felt like now in hindsight, of course, if he'd gone on IR and actually had a scope in the beginning, then they would have been able to find what they later found, which was some other damage that was in there that had been like over the course of years. These were old injuries that never were repaired and just finally
Ah,
caught up to him. And so my thing to them was, when a player, because I'm never going to tell a person how they feel. You can't really, regardless of what a doctor says, you should be able to do these things. This
mhm,
should be healed by now. And he usually heals pretty good, pretty fast, and everything like that. But these were things that never had any attention to them that had, taken its toll over time. And those are the types of things that they won't come out in the media and say that.
right,
You know what
right.
I mean? And it's all. Well, he's been hurt, but some of that stuff, and we don't want to get to pointing fingers, but some of those things could have been prevented. I,
Mm,
don't want to say by who or who could have done things
right, right.
differently, but I know for sure when you don't take if someone's telling you they're in pain and you don't take those things to heart, then this is the end result of that. He probably would have been back for the end stretch of the season had they went ahead and did the knee scope uh, in the initial phase of that injury.
Ah, okay, okay. But how's he doing now, health wise?
I mean, he's saying that, and I've seen him do some things, and he's doesn't have any discomfort. He's saying he's feeling better than he has since his first year in the league. So I'm
Hmm.
thinking that we're going to get a really good show this year. That's what I'm counting on. In fact.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good thing. That's a beautiful thing. Now with Jaire Alexander, with him just being released from the Packers, that whole ordeal, it didn't just start with a release. Because I remember before a couple of months ago, we heard rumors that he could possibly be traded. I know the Bills were a team that was interested. It was like the Ravens were another team that was interested in trading for Jaire Alexander as well, because it was a lot of people were thinking that the Packers were going to move on because they had him on a large contract, but they offered him a reduced contract. Can you take us through that?
Well, there were a couple of teams that were talking about trading for him, but I
Mm,
think, well, I'll say it like this: if I'm another team and I feel like you want to get rid of a player and you're willing to release him, why would I trade for him?
right.
Like if I feel like the end result is release, I'll just wait for you to release him, and I don't have to give anything up, and I can make my own contract for that player. And
Mm,
that's really what it came down to, is that the word was around the league that they were willing to part ways, whether they got a trade or not.
mm, okay.
And so
Yeah.
I don't know who leaked that information or who made them feel that way, but that's what it came down to. And then so when it got late, I felt like they were to keep him. We were all geared up to be in Green Bay. We thought that he'd go in the camp and everything was going to be fine, because we got a couple of the coaches and stuff were still talking to him, and it seemed like they were kumbayaing it up, like we were
Yeah.
going to be there, and all the teammates wanted him there. He wanted to be there, which is contrary to a lot of what people were saying or whatever. We didn't expect to be gone. I mean, we still currently have three properties up there. We hadn't moved anything or set up to go anywhere. So
Yeah.
when they sit over that agreement, which was, to me, like it's like when someone does you a wrong and they apologize, but it doesn't sound like an apology. Like
Mm,
this is like you have a contract that doesn't look very much like any of the other restructures we've seen. Like
mm,
we looked at, like Preston Smith deal is what we felt like might happen. Like I think he was due 13, 12 million that one year, and they brought him down to 10, gave him a signing bonus and that to free up some space. Something
mm,
like that they did. But there was no signing bonus to the restructure that they had, nor were there anything looking like any guaranteed money in that contract. Everything was laden with roster bonuses, like all throughout. So it looked as if it was making it more attractive for teams. If they had a potential trade, it would look better. If
ah,
I sign him with
gotcha.
this, it's easier to trade this contract than the $17 million contract that they had, and having to restructure that deal. So
Mm.
that's what we felt over here. And I think that no one should sign a contract like that.
Yeah, yeah. Especially if it's just there's no guarantees. It's heavily incentive based, and like you said, just roster bonus based. Because as you know, football, like NFL, yeah, it's the National Football League, but it also stands for not for long. And these are people's jobs. These are their careers. These are their livelihoods. So whenever we hear stories about players going back and forth with teams over a contract, I know a lot of times fans can look at it like, "Oh man, no, you should be grateful that you had this opportunity." And
Right,
obviously, the
right.
football players are, but they got to make money too. Like fans,
Yeah.
we go
And
ahead.
he made a lot of he made a lot of money, and I think that's what that deal was. He's already made so much money. Why we do this way? And I can see where they're coming from on that. But it was almost like he would have had to play 95% of the snaps in order to reap the benefit of that contract. He would have to play 95% of the snaps to get $6 million. And so, even when he was healthy, he's never played 95% of the snaps, because I mean we even got teams that rest their starters at
Mhm.
the last game of the season. That would have already took him out of contention to get those dollars. You know what I mean? So um, it just didn't seem like something that should be done. So they could have sent something else back and said, well, okay, what about this? But that's not what happened. So he ended up being released. I thought maybe they would have said, okay, well, so what's the issue with this one, and see if we can come to an agreement. But that never happened, and there were no contract talks throughout the summer. There was just talks about we're going to talk about it, we're going to talk about it, and that's what
Yeah.
they sent. But again, I thought he'd be there, and then they were not guaranteeing that he wouldn't be traded. Like I mean, we're late in the game too. So
Oh
this
yeah.
is June, and so
Hmm.
had they released him 2 months ago, not just the market, but the money would have been
Yeah, that's
available
true.
from these different teams. I mean, they've already got their rosters and the guys that they thought they would need for the season at this point.
Hmm.
If he doesn't sign with the Ravens now, or let's just say he signs that non-agreement that I'm talking about, and he goes and he goes right up to training camp day, and they release him. Then maybe they might have to give him a few dollars at that point, but for another team to come along, he may have been stuck with league minimum at that time.
Right. Hmm. Yeah,
And and the thing about it, I know business, and I'm not angry with them at all. I understand both sides. Yes, you paid a lot of money for someone that didn't play as much as you would have liked, but when he was out there, he was your best corner.
hmm
Clearly it wasn't, and this is no knock on the other guys, but I mean,
right.
Jair just different. So not only about being good, he added so much else to your team. I mean, he was the guy that got everybody up for the game. He was the great locker room presence. And I even read something. Somebody said, well, he was a bad locker room person. That no one has ever in the history of him playing ball ever said that he was bad for the locker room. You know what I mean? So good for morale, keeping the guys up, and he was the most. I guess if they would young people say crunk person that they had. So he got everybody up for the game. So he's bringing a lot of that, to Baltimore that already, like Baltimore is a different feel.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like the players are just different, like across the board. I think Baltimore has the ability to take a guy that might be quiet, and he's different after he gets there. Like, and his
Hmm.
play is elevated after he gets, because it's a standard that um and again, no knock on Green Bay
Right.
whatsoever, but this feels different. Lamar and his relationship is very good. So I just believe they're going to complement each other like they did back in college. Of course, this is not college, but I think that this is I think we're gonna have some fun. I think we're gonna see some great things happening, and that's my hope, that he actually stays with the Ravens. I mean, I would like to see him play very well, and then be offered the opportunity to stay long term. But yeah, we didn't mind doing a 1 year deal and to go see it, because we understand business. He hasn't been on the field, so the quest now is to play every game.
Right. And when you talk about business and the business side of football, since the Baltimore Ravens, they gave him a 1 year deal, sort of like a prove it deal. 1 year, $4 million guaranteed, and 2 mil to get to that 6 mil is tied in playtime incentives. So he does have an opportunity to get that 6 mil this year, but like you mentioned, it can go beyond, above and beyond this year too, because he goes and does his thing with the Ravens this year and balls out. Whether it comes from the Baltimore Ravens, it'd be nice if it does, like you said, or if it ends up coming from somebody else. He does his thing this year, then the sky's the limit, because he's
Mm.
I think 28 years old,
Yes.
so still super young, very very young. And I like something that you mentioned about the Ravens, about how people can go there and sometimes they may be a little quiet, they may be a little reserved, but then they play and they show their stuff on the field, and then you see their personality really start to come out.
Right.
And like you mentioned, Lamar Jackson, when he first came to the Baltimore Ravens, quiet, quiet. Like you would hear him in pressers a little bit here and there, but quiet. You see him at the practices and whatnot, at training camp. It's real quiet. But now, like Lamar's super comfortable. He's doing his thing. You hear him all the time. You know exactly like what he sounds. You don't even got to be watching the TV or seeing him, but when you hear his voice, oh, yep, there goes Lamar. So we know Jaire got plenty of personality, so he gonna fit right in. And somebody else who was like that too when they first got to the Baltimore Ravens was Jaire's fellow cornerback, now Marlon Humphrey. He was a very, very quiet guy, very reserved, very to himself. But now, like he says it all. He lets it be. He even got a podcast too. So yeah, he definitely
Oh, really?
talking a
Okay.
lot. Oh yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Jaire gonna fit right in. He gonna fit right in personality wise. He is something that the Baltimore Ravens have been looking for this offseason. It's been sort of a an underrated need for the Baltimore Ravens, for them getting another outside corner. When you mentioned about, because we know the football NFL is it's a nasty business, but it is that it's a business. Just the timing of his release, when you talked about how if it would have been earlier, then yeah, he could have got some more money, and he certainly could have for sure. But for him joining the Baltimore Ravens, and again, they apparently interested before, even before he got released. But the timing, it works out for them. It can work out for him because he'll have a big opportunity. And just when you think about the team that he's joining, the defense that he's joining, just think about the defense alone. He's around a lot. He's already a really great player, but he's around a lot of great players as well. We mentioned Marlon Humphrey. There's a Roquan Smith. There's a Kyle Hamilton, regarded as one of the best safeties in the entire NFL. Like, he has a lot of really good talent around him, and what he can do for, you know what do you think he can bring to these Baltimore Ravens? I could go on and on, but what do you think he could bring to these Baltimore Ravens, especially as somebody who's watched literally every snap of his life?
You know, when and looking into them, they absolutely have a lot. I mean, edge rushers, they got line, every level. There are, as the young people again, dogs at every level over there. And sometimes, you can have everything, and it's just like a little extra little push. And I feel
Mm,
like
there it
he may
is.
be that takes them over the over the hump there. So because again, that back end is great too. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that he's pretty smart too. So think about it, he's kind of a coach on the field type. So
Mm-hmm.
he may see something that someone else might not have seen, and then he might be able to enhance things in that way. And Jair has made some plays, and even as his dad, I'm sitting on the side like, wow, like how did he get that? How did he go get that one? So and again, he lifts the play of the people around. So that's the thing about it. Even if you're great, we can always be better.
Mm-hmm.
Even him, they're going to bring something out of him as well as him bringing something out of them. That competition, all those guys are very competitive guys. So it's going to be constant. Uh, Iron sharpen iron, for lack of a better way to say it. But I believe that's, he brings those things, athleticism, and he's pretty fast. I don't know if you know, if you watch the way he comes down on screens, and again, we talked about this too. He's funny. He's like, Dad, they keep telling me I'm not a tackler. Dad, I tackle him. So you'll see him probably. He's probably going to try to get in the mix a lot more this year, to prove to people that yes, I still do this. I still can do this. So
That's interesting because I spoke to somebody the other day, and I was talking to them about Jaire Alexander, and they mentioned that they said, oh yeah, when it comes to tackling, it's interesting. His tackling is interesting. But I know with Baltimore Ravens and their cornerbacks, that is certainly one thing that they absolutely love. Um, Great tacklers at corners, and it's funny that you mentioned that he ready to get in the mix a little more this year. Because Marlon Humphrey, excellent tackler at corner. Nate Wiggins, the other outside corner, who's in his second year. He surprised me because he has a very light frame, very small frame, but he wasn't afraid to tackle anybody. And he'll obviously go for them legs, take them legs out. But however you got to do it, get it done. So
well,
I'm
you're right there in it. Like you can't like. There's certain places that it gets into your bloodstream. You can't be there and not do these things. He knows where he
mhm.
is.
Oh
He
yeah.
knows exactly where he is, and he will follow suit. Like when in Rome, you know what I mean? Like so,
Uh-huh.
so that's what's going on there.
So yeah, we for sure looking forward to it, man. You mentioned that you feel like the Baltimore Ravens, they could potentially get the best Jair Alexander that there is. And what do you mean by that?
You kind of got he's a very interesting person, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that he responds to the type of coaching that you guys have there. He
Mm,
responds well to that. I mean, I coached him for 7 years, and youth ball, and I probably talked to him pretty sternly, like not like dad, but I was pretty hard on him,
mm-hmm.
and he likes to be coached that way. Like like you can't, and as long as you tell him the reason for it, and we're good to go. And I think they actually care. I don't, I want to be careful about how I say this. And I want to
I
say
understand.
that the Packers don't care, but I think that there's player coaches all through that. coaching staff. I think they are all player coaches, and I think they actually love the player first. Like I sometimes people want to put product on the field, regardless of what, never caring about the situation.
Mm.
I, I just again I don't want to make it seem like these are bad people, but sometimes the bottom line is like, you could have an issue, but I need you to do this today instead of figuring out what that issue is and how can we work through this issue instead of just saying we'll deal with that later. You got to play. You
Mm.
know,
Gotcha.
um, if something happens and going through that and getting his mind right, or if he says that something doesn't feel right, taking a look at it instead of saying we don't think that's that big a deal.
Mm.
We want you to play this week. Those
Yeah.
types of things. And again, if you get in front of these things, sometimes you can avoid the ultimate, which is losing the player for the rest of the season
Hmm.
behind a decision that was made based on how you felt. What about how he feels?
Yeah.
And then, these people a little different than us coming up. I think I probably played with some all types of injuries. Like I mean, people were hurt all the time, and we just went. Now, like technology's changed, and
Oh, it
uh,
certainly did. Hmm.
I remember having an ACL, and it was over. Like you never playing football again.
Mm.
And so we when we know these things ahead of time, we seem like we can fix just about anything. So
Yeah.
that staff, they have a great training staff. And I looked into everything. I probably looked up every player that's a starter on your team, both offense and defense, to see what they're doing. I looked at you guys' pass rush. This is probably the best pass rush that Jair has ever played with in his entire life. Like I
Mm.
mean, he's never really had consistent pressure on the quarterback. It's a lot there. I just think this is the perfect fit for him. I think this is where I would like to see him, long term,
Hmm.
because of again the staff, the culture. Baltimore is a different type of city. They embrace the team. They embrace the play. Like I think and, just looking at him, I saw a kid and he's smiling and he's happy.
Hmm.
That was just enough for me, man. They embraced him, and I
Yeah.
thank all those coaches and players, the way they embraced him, the way they made him feel welcome. I mean, I love that. I love this whole situation is going to be good. I believe for both sides, this is
Hmm.
going to be a good move. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree for sure. I read something the other day that said that he didn't even have a contract offer in place when he took the visit to the Baltimore Ravens. They said
Right.
he was just supposed to come for a visit, see how the
Right.
vibes were and whatnot. But then obviously, yeah, everything worked out and they were able to get
Me
it
and his
done.
mom, look, me and his mom weren't even there. Like we were like, dude, what you doing? Like because he did the same thing in college, man. We were I think South Carolina, we'd signed to go to South Carolina, so that's where we were
Uh-huh.
going to go. And I think he had to report in a couple of weeks. We were just something felt a little different when we went down there, and
Mm.
so we went to go try to open up and see some other people. We're going to two other places after we left Louisville, but he went out with Bobby Petrino and those guys
Mhm.
and came back and he's excited. He, Dad, I got my list. I got my pros and my cons, and I'm like, well, we gonna talk about it later. We got things, events planned, things we need to do. We talk about it later. He's like, but Dad, I want you to look at. And he was so excited. And
Mhm.
when we went to meet with the coach that Sunday, he was asking how we felt about it. We told him, that we liked it and everything. And then he looked at Jair and asked him, "What do you think?" He jumped up out of his seat. I'm a Louisville Cardinal. I'm like, "What? Come on, man! We supposed to talked about this on the way." He's like, it just felt right. So that's what
Yeah.
happened. It was a feeling. He went down there
Mhm.
and met with everybody, and it felt good to him. So he decided to go ahead and sign.
All right, hey, and that's the same thing that happened with the Baltimore Ravens, and we love it. It's that feeling. He got the vibes and he felt the
That's
energy, and
exactly That's exactly what happened. And he did it, and he called us, and we know I can't be mad at that. But I love it. I have some purple. You know what I mean. I'm waiting for jersey sales to see what number he's gonna
oh
have,
yeah,
and
we
then
waiting on
that,
that too. Yeah. Uh-huh.
and maybe bobbleheads or something. I'm trying to get my purple and black up. Uh, but I'm super excited. You
Mhm.
may not be able to see it right now, but I can't wait to get up there. We looking for some places around, and I'm excitement is really an understatement. We're
Mhm.
pretty happy about it. Yeah.
No, that's a beautiful thing. So, congrats on Jaire joining the Baltimore Ravens, because like you talked about, it ain't just Jaire joining the Ravens, it's you as well. It's your entire family joining the Ravens as well. So congrats to you, and enjoy it. It's fun. It can be stressful, some games they could tear our hearts out, but they got it, man. The team, they set up nice. They set up right. It's something that you mentioned about the pass rush, that he ain't never had a pass rush like that before. And as you know, like a pass rush, they can make a cornerback's job that much easier. And then that's a beautiful thing when they go hand in hand. Because if they ain't got to cover for as long, then, and especially if the pass rush they get into the quarterback, they can force interceptions. Or it's just, it works hand in hand. So I'm
Absolutely.
looking forward to everything, all of it, and more. And hopefully they do it all the way through February. But again, Landis, I appreciate you like crazy. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your insight. I appreciate you just going into detail on everything from the beginning to what is now, man. So I appreciate you. Thank you very much for coming on and joining us today.
Thank you. Anytime.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. So, team, keep it clean. I appreciate y'all watching, and we out.
Have a great day.